Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. E. Palaniswamy takes oath as Tamil Nadu Chief Minister with a 31-member cabinet. Governor C. Vidyasagar Rao gives him 15 days to prove majority in the assembly. Campaigning for third phase of UP elections enters its last leg. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses election rallies in Hardoi and Barabanki district. Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Vikas Swarup appointed High Commissioner of India to Canada replaces Vishnu Prakash, who retired in October 2016. And US President Donald Trump meets Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, urges him to curb settlements but avoids endorsement of two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. E. Palaniswamy, AIADMK General Secretary V.K. Shashikala's loyalist, was today sworn in as the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister by Governor C. Vidyasagar Rao. He has been asked to prove his strength in the floor of the House in 15 days. Confirming the development earlier today, the AIADMK claimed it as a victory for the party. Palaniswamy was elected leader of the AIADMK's legislative party by the Shashikala faction on Wednesday after the Supreme Court upheld the conviction of Shashikala in a disproportionate assets case.
The decks were finally cleared for AIADMK's Edapadi Palaniswamy on Thursday to assume the Chief Minister's post with a 31-member cabinet. Palaniswamy became the state's third Chief Minister in the last 3 months.
K. Palaniswamy என்னும் நான் அறிவிக்கவோ வெளிப்படுத்தவே மாட்டேன் என்று ஆண்டவன் மீது ஆணையிட்டு உறுதிமொழிகிறேன்.
Replacing O. Paneerselvam, whose portfolios have been allotted to other leaders.
The governor will call the person who, as an outcome of the protest, establishes on the floor of the House that he has majority to form the government, and he has sweared him or her as Chief Minister.
Governor C. Vidyasagar Rao gave Palaniswamy 15 days to prove he has majority support in the state legislature. Palaniswamy reportedly told the governor that he was ready for a vote of confidence immediately. He said he had the support of 124 AIADMK MLAs.
I am glad the governor has broken the ice and taken the positive step of calling upon a person who appears to command the majority support of his party to form the government. But I would have personally liked a floor test to precede invitation to form the government.
Palaniswamy's elevation brings to an end the weeks-long drama that saw the party General Secretary Shashikala being jailed in Bengaluru on Wednesday. Shashikala, whose bid to become Chief Minister ended with the Supreme Court verdict, will serve 4 years for corruption. Paneerselvam, who was asked to prove his claim by the governor on Wednesday, could not gather enough support within the party. Members of the Paneerselvam camp are expected to meet the Election Commission to challenge Shashikala's appointment as interim General Secretary.
The biggest roadblock in formation of a stable government in Tamil Nadu is Bharatiya Janata Party and Modi government. Why is it that Modi ji continues to destabilize elected government in the state? Is this the federal cooperation he used to speak about, where center will be a bully and office of governor will be used as a puppet? It's time to uphold the constitution and the law, Mr. Governor and Shri Narendra Modi.
जो कानून है वो अपना काम कर रहा है और जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल सिस्टम है और जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोविजन है उसके तहत जो है वो राजभवन और राज्यपाल जी काम कर रहे हैं, इसलिए उसका इंतजार करना चाहिए और जो भी करेक्ट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल सिस्टम है और जो संवैधानिक व्यवस्था है उसके तहत ही वहां पर होगा.
Before going to jail, Shashikala not only chose Palaniswamy to be the Chief Minister but also re-inducted 2 nephews, including TTV Dinakaran as the AIADMK's Deputy General Secretary. Dinakaran was expelled in 2011 by the late J. Jayalalitha from the party. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the Supreme Court on Thursday said that a 5-judge constitution bench would be set up to hear and decide on a batch of petitions relating to the practice of triple talaq, nikah halala and polygamy among Muslims. It said all of the petitions relate to constitutional issues and needed to be dealt by a larger bench. Headed by Chief Justice J.S. Kehar, the bench took on record 3 sets of issues and said that the questions for consideration of the Constitution bench would be decided on March 30th. The bench has asked the parties concerned to file their respective written submissions by the next date of hearing. During the last hearing, the Apex Court had made it clear that it would not deal with the question on whether divorce or divorce under Muslim law needs to be supervised by courts, as it fell under the legislative domain. Well, Vikas Swarup, who is currently serving as the spokesperson of the Ministry of External Affairs, was on Thursday appointed as High Commissioner of India to Canada. The post is lying vacant after Vishnu Prakash retired in October 2016. Swarup is an officer of the IFS batch of 1986 and is famous for penning down the novel Q&A adapted in film as Slumdog Millionaire. He took over from Syed Akbaruddin as the MEA spokesperson in April 2015. Swarup will be replaced by Gopal Bagle, currently looking after Pakistan, Iran, Afghanistan affairs in the ministry. Well, let's now get you the latest from the ongoing Assembly elections and verdict 2017. Curtains will come down tomorrow on the hectic campaign in 69 Assembly seats spread over 12 districts of Uttar Pradesh that will go to polls in the third phase on February 19th. A total of 2 crore voters will vote for the 826 candidates contesting the elections. 105 women candidates are contesting the elections in the third phase. The 12 districts in the third phase include Farrukhabad, Hardoi, Kannauj, Mainpuri, Etawah, Kanpur, Dehat, Auraiya, Lucknow, Unnao, Sitapur and Barabanki. In the 2012 Assembly polls, the Samajwadi Party had won 55 of these 69 seats, while the BSP, BJP and Congress secured just 6, 5 and 2 respectively. 1 seat went to an independent. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said his government is trying hard to push growth in India, but it cannot be done without Uttar Pradesh. Modi addressed a public rally in Hardoi and Barabanki ahead of the third phase of voting on February 19th. Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav also highlighted schemes launched by his government and promised 1 lakh jobs in the police force without even an interview.
Campaigning for the third phase of UP elections scheduled for Sunday has entered its last leg. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday said he was an adopted son of Uttar Pradesh and vowed not to ditch the people of the state at a rally in Hardoi. He further added that his government is trying hard to push growth in India, but it cannot be done without UP. Modi also slammed the opposition, saying be it Congress, Samajwadi Party or BSP, no one thought about the development of the state. The PM also addressed an election rally in Barabanki district.
चाहे कांग्रेस हो, चाहे सपा हो, चाहे बसपा हो, पूरे उत्तर प्रदेश का विकास कैसे हो, इस पर कभी सोचा नहीं गया। जो भी आया अपनी वोट बैंक संभालने में ही लगा रहा, वोट बैंक संभालने में।
Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav addressed rallies in Etawah, Mainpuri and Kannauj districts. Speaking at the rally in Mainpuri, he promised to provide 1 lakh jobs in the police if his party gets to form the government again. Akhilesh also hit out at the opposition parties. Mainpuri is a parliamentary constituency represented by Samajwadi Party founder Mulayam Singh Yadav in Lok Sabha.
आने वाली पीढ़ी के लिए ऐसी सड़क है, जिस तरह लोग जीटी रोड को याद रखते हैं, वैसे ये समाजवादी पार्टी की बनाई हुई सड़क अगले 200 साल, 300 साल, 400 साल तक लोग यही याद करते रहेंगे कि हाँ, समाजवादियों ने कोई सड़क बनाई है। इसलिए ये तो मैनपुरी मान लो अपना घर है।
On the other hand, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi also held election meetings in 3 different constituencies, including Sitapur, Hardoi and Unnao. Taking a jibe at the PM's farmers' loan waiver comment, Rahul said as PM of the country, Modi has the power to waive off the farmers' loans anyways. He also promised that the Congress will open free coaching centers for the youth in every city.
उत्तर प्रदेश में एक नए तरीके की सरकार बनाना चाहते हैं, युवाओं की सरकार बनाना चाहते हैं, आप सबकी सरकार बनाना चाहते हैं, एक ऐसी सरकार जो आपकी बात सुनकर, आपके दिल में जो है उसको सुनकर, उसको समझकर उत्तर प्रदेश के लिए काम करे.
Meanwhile, BJP President Amit Shah and Home Minister Rajnath Singh also addressed various rallies in the poll-bound state. Congress leader Ghulam Nabi Azad also held an election rallies in Barabanki and Lucknow. Azad said that the SP Congress alliance will continue for the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav is all set to campaign for his sister-in-law Aparna Yadav. She is contesting these elections from the Lucknow cantonment seat on a Samajwadi Party ticket. Setting aside the internal rift in the party, Samajwadi Party MP Dimple Yadav, the wife of Akhilesh, also sought votes for Aparna yesterday. Standing alongside Aparna, Dimple cited various development work undertaken by the SP government. She also attacked the centre over demonetization. Samajwadi Party patriarch Mulayam Singh Yadav too has made similar appeals to voters at his rallies to support Aparna. Here's a roundup of the other poll-related news in Polpuri. Filing of nominations for the 7th and final phase of assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh ended today. Voting for this phase will be held on March 8th. The scrutiny will be held on February 17th. The last day for withdrawal of nominations is Saturday, February 18th. Manipur Chief Minister Okram Ibobi Singh on Thursday filed his nomination papers for the upcoming state assembly polls. While filing papers, he said that the Congress party will return with a thumping majority and will form the government for the 4th consecutive term. The Election Commission has sent a team to Punjab to review the security arrangements for EVMs after the Aam Aadmi Party alleged breach of security. Chief Electoral Officer of Himachal Pradesh and Additional Chief Electoral Officer of Delhi will visit all the constituencies to interact with political parties. The team has been asked to submit its report by February 17. Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
This year, we have declared this campus as a net energy positive campus. In this campus, we have triple effect vapor offset machine. This is one of the highest efficient cooling systems we have. Target by 2022 is 100 gigawatt. If we achieve that, India will become a leader in green energy and it will give the lesson to entire world.
Watch Eureka with SK Singh, Director General, National Institute of Solar Energy, Gurugram, only on Rajya Sabha Television.
तमिलनाडु का सियासी संकट खत्म। पलनीसामी बने मुख्यमंत्री। 15 दिन में साबित करना होगा बहुमत। देखिए पहली खबर, पलनीसामी की ताजपोशी, शाम 7 बजे।
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. Well, US President Donald Trump has urged Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to curb settlement activity but avoided any explicit endorsement of a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The two-state policy has been a long-standing bedrock of US Middle East policy. This was the first time the two leaders met since Trump's victory in the 2016 presidential election. Palestinians have urged the White House not to abandon their goal of an independent state. Trump has vowed to work towards a peace deal between Israel and Palestine, but said it would require compromise on both sides and it would be up to the parties themselves to reach an agreement. Netanyahu, on the other hand, said that there were certain conditions that needed to be met for any solution to be forged.
So I'm looking at two-state and one-state, and I like the one that both parties like. I'm very happy with the one that both parties like. I can live with either one. I thought for a while the two-state looked like it may be the easier of the two, but honestly, if Bibi and if the Palestinians, if Israel and the Palestinians are happy, I'm happy with the one they like the best.
Rather than deal with labels, I want to deal with substance. And it's something I've hoped to do for years in a world that's absolutely fixated on labels and not on substance. So here's the substance. There are two prerequisites for peace that I laid out several years ago, and they haven't changed. First, the Palestinians must recognize the Jewish state. They have to stop calling for Israel's destruction. They have to stop educating their people for Israel's destruction. Second, in any peace agreement, Israel must retain the overriding security control over the entire area west of the Jordan River, because if we don't, we know what will happen.
Well, an inquiry in Australia heard that the country's Catholic Church has paid $276 million to victims of sexual abuse since 1980. The Royal Commission into Institutional Responses to Child Sex Abuse was told the money was divided between thousands of victims. The data released on Thursday showed that the average payment per victim was 91,000 Australian dollars. There's a report.
Australia's Catholic Church has paid 276 million Australian dollars in compensation to thousands of child abuse victims since 1980. A government inquiry heard on Thursday. This was the first time the total compensation paid by the church's schools, orphanages and residences has been revealed. A report at a Royal Commission into Institutional Abuse said 3,066 victims had received some form of compensation from a Catholic body in the 35 years to 2015.
Overall, Catholic Church authorities paid $276.1 million in response to claims of child sexual abuse received between 1 January 1980 and 28 February 2015. That sum include amounts for compensation, treatment, legal and other costs.
Cash payments of $258.8 million Australian dollars amounted to an average $91,000 per person. Some compensation was in non-cash payments. The institution which paid the most was the Global Order Christian Brothers, which paid $45.5 million Australian dollars to 763 people, averaging $61,000 per person. The Jesuits paid the most per complainant at $257,000 each on average.
The earliest incidence of alleged abuse reported in a claim to a Catholic Church authority was in the 1920s, and the latest was after 2010. Between January 1980 and February 2015, 4,445 people alleged incidents of child sexual abuse in 4,765 claims.
The Royal Commission, Australia's highest, most powerful type of inquiry which can compel witnesses and recommend prosecutions, has previously heard that 7% of priests working in Australia between 1950 and 2010 were accused of child sex crimes, but few were pursued. The report was based on analysis of data kept by Catholic Church authorities. The Royal Commission has been roundly praised by victim advocates as the most comprehensive public inquiry into child abuse. It is due to report back to the government in December.
We've all known the truth for a long time, but it's nice that it's all coming out in the open, that everyone else can understand how bad this organisation is.
Australia's most senior Catholic Cardinal George Pell said last year the Church had made enormous mistakes and catastrophic choices by refusing to believe abused children, shuffling abusive priests from parish to parish and over-relying on counselling of priests to solve the problem. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Here's a roundup of the other international news in Global Buzz. Top diplomats of the G20 members today gathered in Germany's Bonn city, paving the way for the summit to take place in July. German Foreign Minister Sigmar Gabriel met his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi on the sidelines of the two-day summit. Among the various global challenges being discussed at the summit are the cooperation on climate change, global trade, conflicts in Syria, Yemen and Ukraine. The summit also marks the first interaction between newly appointed US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and his counterparts. Warplanes of the Saudi-led coalition struck a house north of Yemen's capital Sana'a. The attack reportedly killed 9 women and 1 child and left 20 others injured. The airstrike hit a house in the Arhab district north of Sana'a, where mourners had gathered to offer condolences after a woman died. In October, the alliance of mainly Gulf Arab states came under severe criticism after launching an airstrike on the funeral gathering in Sana'a that killed around 140 people. An amateur video uploaded online shows the Syrian city of Deira being shelled and bombed as the forces there attempt to drive rebels out of the city. Today is the third consecutive day when airstrikes hit the city. The clips uploaded on Wednesday and Tuesday showed the aftermath of strikes on Deira neighborhoods including the Al-Balad area. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights Monitor reported fierce clashes between the Syrian regime and rebels. There were, however, no immediate reports of deaths. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres concluded his two-day visit to Egypt today. He also met Arab League chief Ahmed Aboul Gate. During his visit, Guterres warned against abandoning the idea of two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, saying there was no alternative. Here's a roundup of sports news and sports beat. "33-year-old Dutch winger Arjen Robben was at the heart of Bayern Munich's attacking play in the 5-1 rout of Arsenal. The win has put the Champions League quarterfinals within Bayern's reach. Robben posed a constant threat to the Arsenal defence, crowning his performance with one of his trademark goals. Alexis Sanchez equalized for Arsenal, but Bayern continued their rout with 2 more goals from Thiago and 1 each from Robert Lewandowski and Thomas Müller. Well, Real Madrid are one step closer to a 7th straight Champions League quarter-final as goals from Karim Benzema, Toni Kroos and Casemiro sealed a 3-1 win over Napoli on Wednesday. Lorenzo Insigne opened the scoring for Napoli after just 8 minutes of the match starting, but Benzema soon headed home an equalizer. The second leg will be played on March 7.
Well, he said Napoli had goals in this team. An extraordinary piece of awareness from Insigne. So he gets his head up, Navas out of position.
ICC Chief Executive David Richardson has revealed that usage of decision review system has enabled umpires to attain a staggering accuracy rate of 98.5%. He also said that another round of deliberations will happen during the first half of this year on working out a strategy for the inclusion of cricket in the Olympic Games. That's it for this edition of the newscast. Have a good evening.